Thank you. This is exactly what I was trying to say about why the uncomfortably long passage in Midnight Sun, where Edward is detailing the inner workings of and essentially sympathizing with a child before he unalives him, and why it's so weird is because that whole thing is clearly Edward drawing parallels to himself. And that, like going up into a girl's bedroom through her window, is pretty specific, wouldn't you say? If you know what we're talking about, just prepare yourselves. During Edward's vigilante era, which was when he wanted to rebel against Carlisle, so he went off to be a regular vampire and not a vegetarian, he used his mind reading to track down dangerous criminals, predators, etc. And I said this was one of the more honorable decisions he made as a vampire, and the first person that he hunted was actually Esme's abusive ex-husband. But the most that we really hear about this era is this one oddly long passage in Midnight Sun, where Edward is observing this man reading his thoughts and this plan he has. So you know, warning, he is a PDF. That's what he is planning to do. Yes, that's what it is. It's very obvious. And he's saying how, like, he doesn't want to do this. Like, the man doesn't want to do it. He's thinking, I can't. And he hasn't acted yet. And Edward says he hasn't even talked to the girl. That's clearly what it is. I did not make that up. He's talking about how the part that the man is struggling the most with is that he's going to have to unalive her after. And Edward is saying that he's disappointed when he shows up with the ropes and gags because he was, like, rooting for him not to do it. And this man climbs up through this little girl's window into her bedroom, and Edward does unalive him, and he says that the man feels relieved because he's not going to do it. And the whole thing is very much framed like this man was, like, fighting the monster inside of him and didn't want to, which is literally exactly what we hear Edward doing for 500 pages. It's not subtle or new. Like him wanting to overcome the monster inside of him and comparing himself to all these figures, you know, like he's Hades, right? I get it. And of course, if you're gonna have a vampire who has a mind reading ability and has a vigilante air, it totally makes sense that you would have him analyze the thoughts of one of these monsters that he's eliminating. That makes sense. But it's interesting that the specific example that is used when there would have been lots of people who did lots of bad things was a man climbing up into a girl's bedroom. And this literally exists in the same book where we hear in detail about Dusty climbing up into a teenager's bedroom when he's 100 years old. And we hear about him rationalizing it to himself and how, oh, it's not that bad because he's doing it for the right reasons, but if Mike Newton were there, he would be doing it for the wrong reasons. When Mike Newton wouldn't be in the trees outside Bella's house, like trying to get into her window, you know what I'm saying? And I can't imagine that that went unnoticed. And it's interesting that that was included when Edward is largely presented to be such a romantic character, in addition to the passage just being uncomfortable in general. You know what I'm saying?